Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. The big story of the day is the crisis unfolding in Bangladesh. It's moving literally at the speed of summer lightning. It seems at this moment that Sheikh Hasina's government is poised on the brink of collapse. It looks as if the army chief is designed a speech to the country at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it's possible that when he speaks, he will announce the fall of the government. So what is happening in Bangladesh and what is the future of that country? Joining me from Dhaka is one of Bangladesh's foremost individuals, Barrister Aneek Haque. Barrister Haque, let me start by asking, what is the situation on the streets of Dhaka and all the other towns?
At this moment, the situation is one of jubilation and rejoice. For 15 years, we have been under an autocratic regime, and today it has been made official in the sense that the papers and everybody is reporting it. She has resigned at 1:15 and is now gone to some other country. So people here are actually relieved that the last 2 weeks, the bloodsheds we have seen has finally come to an end.
Can you confirm that the Prime Minister or the former Prime Minister has resigned at 1:15 Bangladesh time?
According to our daily Prathamalu, which is one of the leading newspaper of our country, in their web online version, they have said that she, along with her sister, has left the country after resignation tendered to the president at 1:15.
The BBC earlier announced that Sheikh Hasina had been taken to a safe place. You're saying she's actually left the country?
Apparently, we have seen some footages taken by the citizens that from Bangabhavan at around 1:30, a helicopter has taken off, and we couldn't actually figure out whether she is in it, but the rumors and the news are saying that yes, she probably has left the country.
Do you have any sense of where she's going? Could it be the case that she's coming to India? She has had a very good relationship with our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Could she be coming to Delhi?
People at first were actually wondering whether she is going to India, but some very reliable source of ours from inside the close-knit part of the Sheikh Hasina's regime are saying that India actually has refused to take her, and she is now flying to Belarus.
India has refused to take her, you've been told?
That's what I have been told.
But
we can't confirm it.
Why would she be going to Belarus?
Well, Belarus, apparently one of our goons has very big business empire in Belarus, and Belarus is somewhere where we do not have any extradition treaty or anything.
So she would be safer in Belarus from the new government?
Exactly, because with India, we have the, what I would say, that the bilateral treaty that if we ask for a criminal, they would hand him or her over to us, and we would do the same for India. So probably one of the reasons could be that.
Barrister Haque, let's step back a little. I assume that these momentous developments have been arranged by the army chief. Am I correct?
Basically, no, sir. Let me put it this way. What happened that for last 2 weeks, as you know, that there has been the students' movement. And initially, it was all the students, but for last 3-4 days, all the people, that is the guardians, the laborers, the officials, everybody took to the street. And especially yesterday, there has been, after the army was deployed, then we heard that the army chief said that they are not going to shoot at the civilians. And yesterday, we saw that they did not shoot, and the police also did not shoot because the court order was there, which we filed, that the police cannot shoot, open fire on the people. But under the police's protection, the student wing of the government, they started shooting at innocent people. And so far, the death count we know is 101 civilians have died, along with 13 policemen too. So after yesterday, the declaration was that everyone come to Dhaka from all parts of the country. We march towards Ganabhavan, that is her residence. So the whole country actually came into the situation that it's against either Sheikh Hasina versus the people. And at that point of time, I believe the good sense prevailed over the chief of army staff and others, and they have persuaded her somehow to resign. So I wouldn't call it that it is the army who has done it. Rather, it is the people who has compelled the army to take this step.
In other words, it was a massive people's power movement. The sort of thing
Exactly.
that was seen in the 80s in Philippines when Marcos was forced to leave. Something similar happened in Bangladesh. The people themselves rose up against the government.
Exactly. The same thing happened back in 1990 when another autocrat, Ershad, Lieutenant General Ershad was in power. We also did the same. So this is the same thing. It is actually the people who has fought, who has protested, and finally who has won.
And the role of the army chief was to persuade Sheikh Hasina that the time had come to go. The army, I presume, indicated to her that they were not prepared to fire on innocent civilians.
Exactly. That's what their press release and everything has always said that to us. Yesterday, the ISPR, that is the defense press release, they have said that they are not going to open fire on the civilians. They are by the civilians and they will protect the civilians if needed.
Now, both the BBC and several Indian channels have been reporting that the army chief will be talking to the people of Bangladesh in a television address at 3 o'clock, presumably 3 o'clock Bangladesh time.
It has just been postponed till 4. What is going on apparently from what we are hearing, that the army chief is right now sitting with some the leaders of this movement and others, and they are probably planning out that there would be a civilian government rather than army, the civilian government which would be supported by the army for the interim period, and they are the ones who are going to declare their roadmap. So probably that is what's going on. There is some talk going on right now between them.
Do you have any sense of the sort of government or regime that will replace Sheikh Hasina?
I would say that it should be a democratic government which would be elected by the people. If you, I don't know whether you are aware that in Bangladesh, we haven't been exercising our right to vote for last 3 terms. That is, for 15 years, people haven't voted. So all this time, though, whoever was in power, that is, Awami League was in power, they were without the mandate of the people. So people's want, everybody is wanting only one thing, that let there be a free and fair election. Let them choose their government. So I really cannot say who is going to be in power in, say, in future. But at this moment, there should be people who are not involved in the politics, those who are prim and members of the civil society who are going to reflect what the people want.
So I take it we're talking of what I could call a 2-stage process, an interim temporary government that will immediately replace Sheikh Hasina, leading to a full, free, democratic election, which will then elect the lasting, legitimate government.
Exactly, sir.
Who will head or who will be part of the interim government? Do we have any sense of that? Will it be under the army?
No, not really. I don't think the people of Bangladesh is ready to be under another military government or something. I believe it is going to be one of the civil society. That is exactly what probably is the negotiation is going on right now.
The people's movement was largely led, if not primarily led, by student protesters, young students, college students. Is it possible that you might now see a new young generation, both in the interim government and in the final legitimate government? In other words, is a generation change about to take place?
I don't think that they are going to be part of the interim government, but definitely they are the one who are going to be choosing who's going to be the interim government, because they are the one who has led us. To be very fair, we elders have failed them, but they are the ones who have led us to take a stand for them. But they are the one who has started it, and they are the one who has shown that they have the capacity to get the whole nation united. So their wish, their intention definitely should be reflected in the.
But there is a new generation of Bangladeshis, young Bangladeshis, who may not come to power themselves, but will, in a real sense, hold the reins of power.
It might be so, sir. They won't be the king, but they would be the kingmakers.
Tell me, how will Sheikh Hasina be remembered by the people of Bangladesh? She was your prime minister for a very long time, but she became exceedingly unpopular. The elections that she held in January were considered a farce, and eventually she's been thrown out by People's Power in a way very similar to Ferdinand Marcos in the Philippines in the 80s. How will people remember Sheikh Hasina and the Awami League?
I'll tell you something. When she first came into the power, right after we had the last military caretaker government, there was an election and she came into the power. She was at the peak of her popularity. But as the days went by, because of her power mongering and because of her cronies who were with her, the way they have started corruption and everything, people started to basically took their face against her and her government. And in the last few days, the people of the country have started actually calling her the killer, called her the autocrat and whatnot. So history probably, as you know, always is written by the winners. In future, she might be she might be remembered for her last few days, not for whatever she has done before, but for her last few days. And that is not in a very good light.
Tell me, where does all of this leave Begum Zia and the Bangladesh National Party, as well as the Jamaat-e-Islami?
Let me make it very clear to you. I've been working very closely with these student leaders and stuff, and because we have been doing their cases for them. And we are in very close touch with this generation, and none of them want the similar parties replacing one another. People are not only fed up with Awami League, they're fed up with BNP, they're fed up with, they're not only fed up with Jamaat, they do not have, Jamaat do not even come into their account, believe me. They are not anywhere near. If the BNP leaders think that they are going to piggyback on this victory and people will come and make them sit on the power throne, no, that is not going to happen. The people are aware that BNP or Jamaat is not going to be any better than this particular government.
Now, as we talk, I have the BBC on screen in front of me in silence, and they are saying that Bangladeshi protesters have rampaged and entered the Prime Minister's house. Is there a danger of violence?
Sorry, the network went off.
Let me tell you, as we speak, I have the BBC.
I can't hear you, sir.
I said, as we speak.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you, sir. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, now I can. Now I can.
Okay, lovely. As I was saying, Mr. Haque, as we speak, I have the BBC screen in front of me, and they are saying that Bangladeshi PM resigns and flees country. Earlier, they said Bangladeshi protesters have entered and rampaged over the Prime Minister's house. Is there a danger that in this moment of jubilation and euphoria, there could also be vandalism and violence?
I certainly hope not, because back in 1990, when the other autocratic government, we failed them, people in Bangladesh are not actually that much revengeful. And there might be stray one or two incidents, but I believe the good sense will prevail and they are not going to do something which the other government has been doing. I believe and I hope and I pray that that's not going to happen. Chances are very low, though.
Bangladesh is a very important neighbor of India. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi had extremely close relations with Sheikh Hasina. Not only did she fly out to Delhi for his inauguration in the first week of June, but 2 weeks later, she returned for an official visit as well. That may well have been her last official visit to any country's prime minister. Given the close...
After that, she went to China, but China refused to help her and she came back.
Given the close relationship between Sheikh Hasina and her government and the Modi government, how do people in Bangladesh, and in particular, how do the young students who've led this movement view India, and how do they view Narendra Modi?
In fact, our general people thinks that she was the puppet of Narendra Modi. Whatever has been happening, she has been having the blessings of Narendra Modi. And to be very fair with you, the people of India are not, people of Bangladesh are not at all happy with what Mr. Modi has been doing. Number one, there has been communal riots in India. In Bangladesh, they have been trying to start something like that because day before yesterday, our former Prime Minister's son, that is Mr. Sajid Joy, put up a and Facebook story where he tried to incite the people that there is going to be some sort of communal riot. But the people of Bangladesh said no. At this moment, we do not understand whether we are Hindu or we are Muslims or we are Buddhists or we are Christians. We are Bangladeshi and we're going to stick together. But from our perspective, what we see, what is happening in India, the people of Bangladesh really do not support Mr. Narendra Modi.
So what you're
And nor puppet.
So what you're saying to me is that because of the close relationship between Sheikh Hasina and Narendra Modi, the Indian government is not a popular government with the Bangladeshi people. And
Yes.
what makes the situation worse is the policies the Indian government has been following within India with regard to India's own Muslims. Have I understood you correctly?
You have understood me absolutely loud and clear. And apart from that, the economic situation of Bangladesh is completely controlled by India. And then there is the Tista River Dam issue. You know that definitely. That is because that is always being closed by the West Bengal government. So the water stops there, and we do not have enough for our irrigation. Then there is I think the last coffin on the nail about India and Bangladesh was when Bangladesh has given them the railway transit. That is where people actually again went against the Indian government, saying that we are opening everything for them, but they are not giving us any benefit whatsoever. Because there is a chicken neck in between Bangladesh and Nepal border. That's only 18 kilometers, but that has never been opened so that we could have had some business relationship with Nepal. But in Bangladesh, we have given everything to India. They have the right to take their trucks from Tripura to the Seven Sisters. Now they have been given the railway line as well. So all these things together makes Bangladeshi people rather completely anti-Modi government.
So will there be a downturn in relations after Sheikh Hasina goes?
I hope not, because as you said that Bangladesh is a very important ally and neighbor to India. We also think the same. But I believe something should be done where we can say that, yes, it should be actually bilateral. It's not only us giving all the benefits, we will be also asking for some other benefits which might actually help both the countries. So I hope now whoever is in power will be in a position to have a real talk with the Prime Minister to make him understand that our people are not anti-Indian as such, but we want to have the respect and the privileges that we should be having.
Two last questions before I end. Has the way Sheikh Hasina behaved, the unpopularity that she's brought on her shoulders, and the fact that she's had to flee the country, which the BBC has now confirmed, does all of that mean that her father, Sheikh Mujib, you call him Bongo Bandhu, that his name and reputation have also been sullied and dragged into the mud?
I would say very sadly that I have been seeing this because of our actions in the last few days. People are saying that they have been taught the history wrongly and all this. But that goes without saying that Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was one of the stalwarts of our freedom fighting movement, and he is the key figure. And I hope and pray because of our daughter's ill doings, his name should not be dragged into the mud.
Finally, you began this interview by saying that there was jubilation on the streets, that people were celebrating the end of a government they did not like and wanted out. Does today feel like a second liberation like a second Independence Day?
You see, for the most of our independence was in 1971, and now it's 53 years. Even I didn't see the independence war myself. I am born after the liberation, but I have seen one autocrat fall down, and now I'm seeing the another. And the people, the young kids, the students who has done it, this is the first time for them. So they are calling it actually the second Independence Day. They are actually calling it, and they are saying that in this particular movement, those who were with them, they are the freedom fighters, the second generation of freedom fighters, and all that. So they are saying that, and we actually feel like that. Because today, I am talking to you, I'm speaking to you very freely. Yesterday, if you took this interview, I might not have said anything of this sort. We have been censored, our mouth has been shut, we were not allowed to write, we were not allowed to do anything. But today we can. So
In other words, today freedom has been restored.
Yes, absolutely. And just before yesterday, any voice of reason were turned into the voice of treason. Today it is not.
Barrister Aneek Haque, thank you very much for sparing time for me on a momentous day when I am sure there was a lot else that would have been of greater priority to you. Take care, stay safe, and a happy second Independence Day.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch The Interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.